Welcome back to the Grind, Sleep, Repeat podcast. In today's episode, we are talking all about fat loss, but also how we can maintain our muscle mass while shedding fat.
Yeah, this is a problem that I see a lot of people run into when they're trying to focus on leaning up and getting shredded for summer and they want to look and feel their best. Is they'll go on this crash diet and they'll start working out really hard, and yeah, they'll lose weight, but the problem is they'll lose a lot of muscle mass in the process. So we want to dive in specifically on that, on how to lose body fat while building or maintaining muscle. And a lot of times people say you can't build muscle and lose fat at the same time. We see it time and time again. You definitely can. You just have to create, like we always talk about, the structure in your diet, the structure in your workouts, and follow some of the basic principles that we'll talk about with strength training, with cardio, with diet today, and just give you a lot of information on this topic so that you can create a good program moving forward. So
Yeah, let's start with our first tip being our calories. So, when we're going into a fat loss phase, we want to be careful not to dip our calories too low and make sure that we start off with a smaller increment of a deficit. If we start too strong of a deficit, what's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to lose your muscle mass, which the goal of this is to maintain that muscle mass. But also, when things start getting more challenging and you kind of plateau at that weight loss, you can't look back at your calories and say, okay, I can take a little bit here because you've already started too low.
yeah, a lot of times, that's the equation that people go with is I'm going to eat nothing. I'm going to work out super hard. I'm going to lose all of this weight. And it's going to be the answer to my problems. And if you lose a bunch of weight, but you lose a lot of muscle mass in the process, you're not going to be happy with your end result. You're not going to look the way that you might have pictured in your head. You're not going to have muscle tone. You're not going to have the body composition that you want, or a lot of times what people want. So, like I said, this is specifically talking about losing body fat here. We don't just want to lose overall weight. And I think that's a hard concept to think about, because if you have 10 pounds of weight loss, but 5 of it is muscle mass, that's a really negative body composition change. It's going to hinder your metabolism. It's going to hinder your appearance and your body composition. You're not going to be as strong. You're not going to be as functional. So this is more than just aesthetic here as well. We want to maintain a healthy metabolism. We want to maintain a healthy look, yes, but also just have function. We don't want to get rid of muscle mass, because it's hard work to put muscle mass on. If you lose it in the process of losing fat, it's just kind of like a kick in the gut. So the caloric restriction is the first place that we start with. And if you are somebody that you're looking for specific macros, obviously everybody's going to have different macro needs that's listening to this podcast. Your age, your height, your gender, your activity level, all those things are going to change your caloric needs. So if you have questions on specific macros, we have a resource on our website where we'll do a free estimate on where you should start with your macros. Tell you your carbs, your fat, your protein based on your specific goals, your body weight. So after done listening to the podcast, the link to that is down in the comments below. You can go fill out that form on our website and we will do a free macro calculation and give you a great place to start. But the main thing is not starting too low with your calories, not starting too high with your calories. So let's kind of talk about, how do we lose weight, a caloric deficit, caloric surplus, caloric maintenance, kind of what is the basic principle of losing weight?
So, when we're in this calorie deficit, meaning we're eating less than what our maintenance calories are, this is how we are going to lose weight. And then we don't want to be in this deficit for too long of periods. We want to make sure that we bounce back to that maintenance to keep a healthy metabolism too, so that when we go into that weight loss phase, we don't have to cut into extreme low calories. And then when we're going into a more muscle building phase, we're in a calorie surplus.
Yeah. So basically you have your maintenance amount of calories. Anything above that, you're going to gain weight. Anything below that, you're going to lose weight. What we're basically trying to say here is you don't want to go so low that is below your basal metabolic rate. And basically what that means is it's the amount of calories that you burn at rest. If you're eating close to your basal metabolic rate, which a lot of people are, they're eating 1,200 calories, 1,400 calories, 1,600 calories. These are really low caloric amounts. And it's very extreme caloric restriction. If that sounds like you're probably eating not enough food. And that's why you're struggling to lose body fat. You're struggling to make any sort of strength progress in the gym. And you're probably losing muscle mass in the process. So you want to be at the right spot. And that's why we have that free resource on our website. Everybody's a little different. And with our online clients, We do a lot of tweaking to those macros, but that's going to be a great place for you to start and show you how to actually fuel your body, not just to restrict and deprive your body of food, but to fuel your body so that you can still come in, crush your workouts, you can have good energy throughout the day and not have it be this like, man, I have no energy. I feel lethargic. I'm not losing weight. You don't want to be in that spot where you're just depriving your body of calories because your body's not going to get rid of body fat. It's going to feel like it's stressed. It's going to feel like it is not getting enough food and it's going to hold on to all the body fat that it can. And then you're just in this stage where you're not doing any sort of progress and just spinning your wheels. So that's what we're trying to avoid by not extremely restricting your calories.
Yeah, and a couple of things too I want to mention on the calorie topic is going to be that when you're in that calorie deficit, you need to be consistent with that. So there's no yo-yoing, like one day or maybe for the whole week, you're in that calorie deficit and on the weekends, you just let it rip. You got to be consistent with those calories in order to see progress. So if you're like one day you're doing great, next day, you take a couple bites of your kid's Happy Meal or, you take a couple bites of ice cream, like all calories count. Whatever you're putting into your pie hole counts. So you got to be aware of what you're eating, track every little thing in order to get real results. Because if we're not consistent, we can't make any changes. So if we're training you or coaching you through the process of weight loss, and you come and show us your calorie intake for the week and we're like, okay, this is everything you've eaten and you're true to it, you're honest about it, then we can make adjustments from there. But if you're not tracking everything, you're not being honest with yourself of all the calories and all the food you're putting into your body, then we can't make adjustments with your program.
Yeah, that's the hard part as a coach. Like we want to be able to control the variables. So if we give you macros to hit and you're hitting them spot on, but we're not seeing results, then I know as a coach, I can change a couple variables to start seeing the progress that we want. Versus if you're like hitting the macros 75% of the time, then it's really hard as a coach to control the variables because I'm going to bring down your calories when I really don't need to. The problem was just sticking to the program. And, our last weight loss challenge that we did here at the gym, our winner lost, I'll put it on the screen here, 13 pounds of fat. Second place lost 8 pounds of fat. Third place lost 6 pounds of fat in 8 weeks. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but when we're talking about purely body fat, those are huge body composition changes that people are making by sticking to the program that we lay out for them. The workouts, the diet, the nutrition, and just hitting repeat, not, to your point, I think a lot of times people, they extremely restrict their calories during the week. And by the weekend, they're like, I got to binge. I got to have something to keep myself sane. So like Alyssa mentioned, those calories on the weekend, they're not free. With that said, you can fit things into your macros that maybe aren't deemed as healthy. You just have to track them and you're probably going to be a little more hungry. So like say, for example, hey, I want to track this donut in my macros. It's going to eat a lot of carbs and fat out of your allotted macros. And by the end of the day, if you do that, you're probably going to be a lot more hungry than if you had had a good solid lunch like chicken breast and sweet potato and veggies. So
That has the same calorie intake
yeah,
as one donut.
yes. So think about that long term. You can fit things in. And that's something when we talk to our online clients that they'll struggle with is thinking that we have to be 100% all the time. You don't have to be 100% all the time eating necessary healthy food. You just have to track your macros. And if you have those specific goals of losing body fat, let's focus for the next 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks and create a lot of structure so that you can see the changes that you want and lose body fat and hold on to muscle in the process. So whole thing is just adhering to the program and not thinking that we have to be 100% all the time as far as eating necessarily healthy food. Just hit your macros at the end of the day, do your workouts, and you're going to see the progress that you want to see.
Yeah, and if you have one bad day, just get right back on it the next day. Give yourself grace. We all make mistakes, but don't have that mentality that, okay, I just took 2 bites of my kid's ice cream. I ruined my whole day. Fuck it. I might as well just eat this whole pint. Don't do that. Doesn't work like that. 2 bites, it's okay. Just get back on that train tomorrow or that next meal. With that being said, now that we've got all of our calories covered, we're tracking our macros and things are moving in a good positive direction, we also want to make sure that we are incorporating strength training. With strength training, you want to make sure you're doing at least 3 to 4 days a week if not more, to make sure that you're hitting your each body part with the correct amount of volume too.
Yeah. So strength training is so crucial. And if you have a weight loss goal, you need to be strength training and you need to be focused on getting stronger. You need to be lifting, I say heavy weights. Heavy is always relative for you. So heavy for one person is going to be different from another person. So I would try to lift your weights in that like 6 to 10, maybe 12, but you really want to stay in that like 6 to 10 rep range. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Because if we start to lighten up our weights, what's going to happen is your body isn't getting that stimulus, that heavy strength training to the requirement to rebuild muscle tissue. And what's going to happen is our body's going to say, well, we don't really need this muscle. We're in a deficit. We can just get rid of it because we don't really need it. We're not being
We got to work
taxed.
hard to keep that on. Your
Yeah.
body's got to work extra hard.
So
So
by trying to focus on getting stronger, even when you're in a deficit, people say, oh, I can't build strength when I'm on a diet. You still can. It's going to be a little harder, but you still got to focus on it. That's how you're going to maintain your muscle mass. And actually, we've seen clients build muscle mass in the process. There's nothing saying that you can't do so. Again, the whole thing is you just can't lighten up the reps. We're not trying to chase this burn and like we're doing sets of 30. And I'm like,
time
I'm
and
going
place for that.
to really tone out my triceps and do sets of 30 on a push down. If you start doing that over time, you're going to lose muscle mass. So at 6 to 10 rep range, lift heavy, get stronger, track your weights. That's something that we really preach with our online clients and the clients that we train here is you have to continually place the stimulus on your muscles in the gym in order to, one, maintain your muscle mass, but ideally build muscle mass in the process as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest key point here too is when we're in that deficit, we are not going to have as much energy. And I talk about this time and time again too to my clients and focusing on food around the workout so that you have the energy and you have the fuel to tap into to really give full effort at those workouts. But, there's no sense in saying, okay, I'm in a deficit. Normally, when I'm in a surplus, I can lift these 30 pounds shoulder press, but since I'm in a deficit, I'm going to jump down to 20. Don't do that. Just still try to push that same weight you've been pushing. And it's going to be harder and you're going to have to work through those obstacles. But with that being said, it's just really focus on not lightening the load and going for that overall burn effect that you said. And making sure you're getting in enough protein too to help hold on to that muscle mass. We're getting 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight and making sure you spread that out throughout the day. And it's also going to help with your performance and recovery as well.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll have our clients eat anywhere from like 3 meals and 2 snacks to 3 meals and 3 snacks, even when they're dieting, and spacing their protein out throughout those 3 meals and 3 snacks versus you don't want 2 lumps of like, if you're trying to get, say you're 200 pounds and you're trying to get 200 grams of protein, you got to eat, if you're eating twice a day, you got to eat 100 grams of protein. So there's the old saying of like, you can only digest this much protein. You can digest it. That protein's probably going to sit in your stomach like a rock. It's not going to feel very good. And the protein is going to be a lot more, it's going to work for you a lot better if you break it up evenly throughout the day. So instead of eating 2 100-gram protein meals, how about we eat 5 meals, 3 meals, 2 snacks of 40 grams? And that's going to be a lot better for recovery. We're going to digest it better. You're just going to feel a lot less bloated from that. So protein is huge. It's going to help you maintain your muscle mass. It's going to help you recover from your workouts because if you're in a deficit, like Alyssa mentioned, your energy might be a little lower. Your recovery is not going to be as good as if you're in a caloric surplus and you're trying to bulk and build muscle. So you have to hit enough protein that's going to help you maintain muscle and help you recover from those strength training workouts. Because when we're lifting weights, we're not building muscle. We're breaking our muscle tissue down. And it's that 24 to 72 hours after the workout where we rebuild our muscle tissue through having adequate amounts of protein in our diet. So it's a huge emphasis, and it should be a huge emphasis in your diet. And if you're running low on protein and you're trying to cut body fat, you're going to lose muscle mass in the process. So make sure you're getting at least 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day.
And if you're not sure what protein looks like, it's going to be those lean proteins like chicken, ground turkey, fish, eggs, yogurts, cottage cheese, and a protein powder, which we actually have. We have a chocolate fit grind whey protein powder, something that you can replace post-workout or use as a meal replacement. It's going to be quick to digest and get to those muscles quicker, help repair those muscle tissues.
Yeah, usually I'll use 1 to 2 scoops in the midday, like mid-morning in between training sessions while I'm just here at the gym. I'm kind of like back to back, have a protein shake mixed up and down that. And sometimes I'll do that with a piece of fruit. And then a lot of times I'll do a protein shake either before bed or after workout. So it's an extension of your diet. It's there to help you get the protein that you need. You should do all of your protein from a protein powder or protein bar, but adding 1 to 3 scoops a day is going to help you get the amount of protein that you need. And then the other meals and snacks, you're trying to eat whole foods like Alyssa mentioned. So protein, get your protein,
Essential.
do it consistently. It's going to make a huge difference in your program. So the last thing that we wanted to touch on is something that we see a lot of people overdo like crazy. And we're going to talk all about cardio. So if you are dieting and you want to lose body fat, that's the first place a lot of people's minds go is I got to up my cardio. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I would avoid, especially in the beginning, is do not overdo your cardio.
Burnout.
You don't want to add, I'm lifting 5 days a week, I'm doing 5 days of cardio, I'm restricting my calories, and all of a sudden you get so burnt out that you can't adhere to the program. So cardio is a tool in your back pockets. It's not the only thing that's going to burn calories or burn fat. The cardio burns calories, and being in a caloric deficit helps you lose body fat over time. It's not this magic pill. Cardio is not this like, oh, it's the answer to all my problems. It just helps you burn more calories and creates more of a caloric deficit. So you want the diet to work for you. You want to strength train to help keep your metabolism healthy and running and burning a lot of calories and maintain muscle mass, and use cardio as a tool to further see better fat loss throughout your caloric deficit and diet phase.
And instead of thinking of cardio like, sprint intervals or going on these long runs, you can think of cardio like just movement, more movement. Maybe you focus on hitting more of a step count. Maybe you're somebody who sits at a desk and you don't move a lot throughout the day. Maybe you just say, okay, typically I'm only getting like 2,000 steps a day. I'm going to try to get 6,000. So those things aren't terrible to aim towards. It's when you're implementing these heavy loaded stress bearing cardio sessions and you're overdoing them, and then you're not having movement throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So there's almost no point in doing that when you're not getting in a balance of movement throughout the day too. So keep that in mind. And all of these things are just tools. Each one of these tips that we've given you today are all just tools that you can use to create the perfect format for this fat loss phase. And there's no one size that fits all, first of all. But second of all, there's no one tip or one tool that works over all of these. They all have to come together. They all are a part of the puzzle.
Yeah, and that's really what we aim to do with our training clients that we see one-on-one here at the gym and our online training clients is to create the structure. So everybody's different with their goals. Everybody's different with their history of what they've done and that specific diet that they need to follow to see the progress that they want. So that's what we provide is custom workouts and custom meal plan and macros to the individual. So if you're not local and you're ready to lose some body fat, you're ready to feel your most confident self this summer, we have a link as well down in the description below to our online training page where you can fill out a form and we can give you more information on how we can create a program custom to you and just help you see the results that you want to see and just take all the guesswork out. I think there's so much information out in the media right now. Some of it's good, a lot of it's bad. So that's what helps is having structure of like not guessing what to do or like, hey, I saw this post on Facebook today. I wonder if this is real. No, we're going to take the guesswork out of what you need to do. And as long as you adhere to the program, you're going to see the results that you want to see, just like the people that we've helped time and time again in our challenges and our online training programs is just, you have to follow that program. And I think what happens is a lot of times people, they try and hop from one thing to the next and they don't know exactly what to do. Just like anything, like there's certain topics that I know nothing about and I'm going to hire a professional to give me the answers that I need. Same thing. That's kind of what we do for a living. So that's what we can help you is create the structure and just take all of the guesswork out of what you're trying to do in the gym and then also with your diet. So if you're interested, we would love to help you and love to work with you. Just go fill out that form at the link in the description below. And as always, if you guys have questions on today's topic, obviously there's a lot that we covered with our nutrition, with our strength training, with the cardio. If you guys have questions, just let us know in the comment section below and we will help you out and answer back to you.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips and tricks into getting into your fat loss phase and getting ready for the summer. And we'll see you guys in the next one.